Today, I begin a new life, for I'm the master of my abilities. And today, it's going to be a great, beautiful day.
Perfect. Perfect. YouTube was good. All right, so look, this video is gonna be based on getting the perfect blend and the perfect lineup when doing your haircuts. So before you start any haircut, you always want to make sure you comb the hair out and or brush the hair. So all that's gonna do is just prepare your clippers for when you start cutting the hair. Because if you don't comb or brush the hair out, you go snag and pull your client hair, and that's something you don't want to do. So you see me combing the hair out before I started the cut. So now what I'm doing is I'm starting my first guideline with the cutting clipper, lever close. I see a lot of barbers using this technique because we find it easier to take that first guideline out when you start the fading process. You can use the trimmers, but doing it this way is way easier because if you set that first guideline in with the trimmer and you set it in too harsh, it's gonna be harder to take out. So if you're a beginner, I think this is the best method for you to start your first guideline with. And take your time when you're doing these haircuts. You don't wanna rush anything. If you're rushing your cuts or rushing the process, your blends is not gonna come out how you want it to come out. So right here, I'm starting my second guideline with the lever open. My guidelines are about an inch apart. All of my guidelines are about an inch apart. You always want to make sure you stretch your blends. Make your guidelines bigger than usual. Trust me, I know you feel like if you make your guidelines too big and the blends is gonna be too high. I'm telling you, it's not. You're gonna get the perfect blend if you stretch your guidelines out. And always make sure you comb or brush the hair after every stroke or after every other stroke. No diddy. So now you see me knocking out that line between the lever open and the lever close. So all I'm doing here is knocking that line out. I have my lever halfway and I'm gonna be going halfway and close to make sure I knock that line out. You gonna see the line disappear as I continue to blend. I put the one guard on now. It's gonna be the same steps. I put the one guard on, I have the lever open, and I'm gonna go up about an inch. And after that, I'm gonna close the lever to knock that line out that you see under the one guard open. And then after that, it's gonna be a faint line. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the one guard off and I'm gonna open the lever on the cutting clipper and completely knock that line out. And it's gonna be like smooth, like the blend is gonna be really smooth. And you see me combing the hair after every couple of strokes, no diddy. And that's because I'm combing the hair to see what other hair needs to be cut. Because if your guidelines is not straight and not clean, you gonna have a lopsided blend and you don't want that. So you always wanna make sure you comb the hair or brush the hair after every couple of strokes to make sure you cut all the hair that needs to be cut off and have clean guidelines. So this is crucial when blending into longer hair. And what I'm doing is I'm debulking. I'm debulking the hair. And that means I'm cutting the hair down to be able to blend in to the hair better than usual. You never want to blend into longer hair without debulking first because it's just gonna be a big mess. And if you are like a beginner barber, it's gonna make you frustrated and you're gonna get irritated and you're not gonna even want to cut no more. So as a new barber, for any barber, you always want to make sure you debulk the hair so you can be able to blend into the longer hairs better, and so you can visually see everything and you can see what you're doing. You always want to be in control because if you're not, you're gonna spend unnecessary time on the cut and it's gonna take longer to finish. And always dust your client off during the cut so they won't have all that hair on. So I'm gonna do the same process around the whole head. What you do to one side, you do to all sides. So when you guys doing your cuts, make sure you taking your time with the cuts and just perfecting your craft. Practice makes perfect, and that's a true statement. Like that's factual. Like if you don't practice anything that you do, you're not gonna become great at it. Basketball players, they be up 4 or 5 in the morning practicing their shot, practicing their moves, and after they done it so many times, when they play in the games, they go hit that shot, or they go cross somebody over from practicing that move. So like I said, practice makes perfect. Continue to do haircuts and perfect your blend and create your own fading system. You can use other barber techniques, but take from other barbers and create your own fading method. Create a fading system that works for you and a system that you're comfortable with. For those of you who don't know, I'm from Compton, California. I lived in LA and Compton my whole life, but I grew up in Compton. I think I'm gonna do a separate video, an about me video, so y'all can know more about me and who I am and why I started cutting hair. If y'all want me to do that video, let me know in the comment section.
Cody.
So this is where the magic happens. This is what's gonna bring the whole cut together. So you see me prepping the hairline to be lined up. A lot of barbers comb the hair down. When they trim the hair down in the front, like how you see I'm doing here, they cut it down too low and they line it up and then they spray it with enhancements or color. You don't want to do that. You always want to leave the hair kind of thick. And you see I'm using holding spray right here. So when I start lining the hair up, the hairline won't move or the hair won't move. But when you trim the hair down in the front, you don't want to trim it down too low. You want to leave it kind of dark. So when you line it up, it's going to look fly. Like you go see, like when I'm done with the lineup, you go see like how good it look with it being kind of dark. And I know his hairline is like patchy. That's because of his natural hair. I can't do nothing about that. But that's why I left the hair in the front kind of dark. So as I line it, like the hairline is gonna be crispy. It's gonna overall look better.
Boy, if you don't.
Some people gonna say this a pushback. I did not push him back. As you seen earlier in the video, he didn't have a set hairline for me to go off of, so I had to create one. So usually when starting a lineup, you always want to start in the middle, but that's not gonna always be the case because some people's hairline is not even. Some people's hairline is higher on the left side than the right, and some people's hairline higher on the right side than the left. So you always want to start in the middle, but initially, if it's not even, you want to start from the highest point of the lineup. I'm gonna add a little bit of enhancements. You never want to add too much enhancements. Enhancements is just to make something enhance, make it look a little bit more better, but yet natural. So when adding enhancements, you never want to apply too much. You want to apply just a little bit, just to bring the haircut out, just to bring the hairline out a little more. A lot of barbers use a lot of enhancements to cover up a lot of their mistakes, or they'll spray the enhancements first and then they'll line it up. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to make sure the natural hairline is naturally crispy and right, then add a little bit of enhancements on top to bring the whole haircut together. I'm using the color pencil to bring the hairline out just a little more. I know I'm supposed to use a lighter color pencil, but I didn't want it too noticeable, so that's why I'm using a color pencil that matches skin tone. Now the straight razor is more advanced. It's for the people that's been cutting hair for some time now and that know what they're doing. If you're a beginner, I suggest you practice before you start using a straight razor on somebody. And you can practice by using some shaving cream and a balloon. If you can shave the whole balloon without popping it, that means you holding the straight razor at the correct angle and you're not pushing too hard down on the balloon. I'm gonna teach y'all a little trick. I didn't have a sponge to use to twist his hair with, so what I had to do, I had to improvise. If you don't have a sponge to twist somebody's hair, get you a towel or a rag and do how I did. You fold it and then you start twisting it counterclockwise or clockwise, and it's gonna work just as good as a sponge. As you can see, how I'm doing it is working perfectly. That's a little secret I wanted to share with y'all. Now for the final touches, I'm gonna go around the head, pause, and cut any hair that's sticking out and shape the hair on the sides. So all that's gonna do is just make the cut look that much better. And this is what separates you from all the other barbers. That's why I said earlier in the video, detailing is crucial. You detail your cuts and pay attention to every little thing, you'll get you a fresh cut every time. This is pretty much the end of the video. I appreciate you for tuning in. If you like the video, please let me know in the comment section. Like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos. I drop weekly, and I'll see y'all in the next one. I'm out. Peace.
Perfect.
My brother said she was nice with it, so she told me to come through.
YouTube was good. All right, so look, I'm kind of excited about this tutorial because I'm able to go more into depth on how y'all can further y'all blends and bring out y'all haircuts even more and bring out y'all blends even more. So with any haircut, whether they're Asian, African American, white, whatever, you always want to make sure you comb the hair out. This is crucial when it comes to cutting hair. Before you start any haircut, you always want to make sure you comb the hair out, because if you don't comb the hair out, you're gonna cause the clippers to snag the hair and pull the hair, and don't nobody want to get their hair snagged while getting a haircut. Like, it's a no-go. So what you see me do for my first guideline is I use the lever close on the cutting clipper, and the reason why I close the lever instead of using a trimmer is because using the lever close on the cutting clipper, it's gonna knock that bottom line out easier versus you using the balding clipper, because it's gonna leave a harsh line. So I set my first guideline with the lever closed. Now I open the lever all the way to create my second guideline, and it's gonna be a fade line in between the lever closed and the lever open. And you see me put my lever halfway, it's gonna completely knock that line out in between the lever closed and the lever open. And the reason why it's coming out so easily because I used the lever closed to create my first guideline instead of using a trimmer. So by me, using a lever closed and then open, now I can go halfway, knock that line completely out, and it knocks time off the haircut. And I'm gonna do the same thing with the one guard. I have the lever open with the one guard on, and after that I'm gonna close the lever and knock that line out between the lever open, no guard, and the lever open with the number one on. Like, this technique right here is gonna help you achieve a nice blend with any hair texture or any hairstyle. And you see me constantly combing and brushing the hair, and that's because I'm moving any dead hair that I cut, so I can be able to see my blend, so I can be able to see where I need to further blend or further cut, so I can get the blurriest taper or fade I can get when cutting the client hair. So I'm just working that line between the lever open, no guard, and the lever open with the number one guard. I'm trying to get that line as faint as possible, so when I come behind it with the lever open again with no guard, the line go come completely out. Now for some reason, I don't know why my camera wasn't recording, it didn't show the part where I knocked that line out with the lever open, but it's alright, y'all know what I did. So this is another step that's gonna help you guys further your blends. Alright, so with African American hair, this is a crucial step because this is gonna help you achieve a better blend. So what I did was I put the number one guard on, and I went with the grain to cut the hair down. That's pretty much called debulking. So you always want to make sure you debulk the hair when fading into longer hair, because it's going to help you blend better, and it's going to help you see your blends. Because if you just blending into long hairs without debulking or without cutting the hair down first, you're going to get lost in your blends, and you might go too high, or you may not be cutting no hair at all, and you just keep going over the same spot, and you're going to irritate the side of the client head. So you always want to make sure you debulk or cut the longer hairs down first before you start to fade further into the longer hair, as I'm doing right here. And you see me using a 1.5 guard. Now lever open and lever close. So it's pretty much the same steps as I used with the number 1 guard. And this small step right here is going to separate you from all the other barbers. It's the smallest details is what's going to help bring your cuts out and bring your blends out and help you achieve a better looking haircut. So this step right here, I have the 1.5 guard on, lever close, and I'm just trimming the hair around the ear. So when I line it up, the blend will pop more. The back is no different from the side. So whenever you blending, I want you guys to stretch out your blends, stretch out your guidelines. Do not make those 1 centimeter guidelines, because all you're doing is setting yourself up for failure when trying to blend the hair. What I do is I make all my guidelines at least 1 inch. If you're making small guidelines, then when it's time for you to knock those guidelines out, it's going to be hard for you to blend those lines out because your guidelines is going to be so small. So while you're knocking those guidelines out, you're going to cut in to the next guideline, if that makes sense. So if you're cutting into the next guideline with a smaller guard, all you're doing is raising your blend. So as you feel like you're blending, or as you go higher or using a higher guard, all you're doing is raising the blend, and that's why your blends come out looking choppy and looking real bald, and you continue to raise the blend because you don't stretch your guidelines out. Stretch your guidelines, give yourself room to blend. Don't think that you're raising the lines or your guidelines too high and think it's going to be way at the top of the head, because it's not. You have to stretch the blends, especially on straight hair. In my experience, because I used to create small guidelines because I thought if I made my guidelines too big, I was going to have a super high taper or a super high fade. But as I continued, to progress in me cutting hair and learning certain things and watching other barbers on YouTube, I've learned that stretching the blends is the best thing you can do. So make sure you guys doing that. Make your guidelines at least 1 inch. I promise you, you make all of your guidelines at least 1 inch, your blends is gonna come out flawless. Get used to using the corner of your clippers while blending. That's going to prevent you from cutting off too much hair or cutting off unwanted hair that you don't want to cut off. Because if you use the whole blade to blend with, 9 times out of 10 you're going to cut too much hair off. So use the corner of the blade when blending. And also, I want to thank those who subscribe to my channel. Even if you're not subscribed, even if you just watched the video, I still want to thank you. Probably like a month or two ago, I only had 50 subscribers. Now I have 286 subs. It's not a lot to some people, but to me that's a big accomplishment because it's letting me know and showing me that I'm doing something right. So 286 subs, we got more on the way, road to 1K. And it's gonna be a grind, but I'm gonna stay dedicated, stay down, continue to drop these videos for you guys. And I like the interaction that I'm having with you guys, and you guys commenting and leaving your thoughts and liking the video and all that. So that really helps keep me motivated to continue to drop videos, because I know some people would have gave up a long time ago, but you gotta keep going. It's a slow grind. For some people, they blow up overnight, but I really appreciate you guys for watching my video. It really means a lot to me. So I'm still working to blend, keeping my guidelines nice and clean, straight across. And that's another thing. Make sure your guidelines is nice and neat, because if you make your guidelines crooked, your blend is going to be crooked. It's going to look weird, and all it's going to do is frustrate you. So make sure you're making your guidelines straight across as I am, or as you see me doing the video. And make sure you combing and brushing the hair after every couple of strokes. Like your girl. You want to make sure you set yourself up for greatness and have a great end result. Still working on these angles. It's not easy making sure that you cut the hair right and making sure the client is in the frame while trying to make sure you blending and cutting the hair right. It's not easy, so y'all bear with me. It's not bad, but I'm working on my angles. practice make perfect. If you're a barber and you're thinking about recording your haircut for YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, make sure you do research on the best angles and how to position your camera and all that, and make sure you have good lighting. Lighting is the number one thing that's going to help you achieve and get a good quality in your cuts. So I'm still learning, but I'm just letting you guys know what I know for those of you who want to start, recording your haircut and posting them. So lighting, angles, make sure you invest in yourself. Always invest in yourself. Make sure you have not the best equipment, like all right equipment. And once you have a good amount of money, you can invest into better equipment, but invest in yourself. Invest. That's the best thing you can do in life, is invest in yourself. Invest in your craft. If y'all hear me taking pauses while talking, that's because I'm thinking about what I'm gonna say next while trying to explain to you guys what I'm explaining. I ain't gonna lie, I commend Get Bean for being able to talk so fluently while he doing voiceovers. I know some people might say, oh, it's not that hard, it's easy to just talk. But nah, it's not that easy. My mouth keep watering and whatnot while I talk. Dang, I'm gonna get right though, I'm gonna get right. Telling y'all, man, do the same steps around the whole head. No diddler. No, for real though. Do the same steps around the whole head, whether it's a taper or a ball fade, because that's a lot of fading techniques out there that people use. When doing a fade, some people start from the back, then they work their way to the right and the left, or they work their way from the right to the middle to the left. Like, it's so many ways you can start your blend, or how you can blend the hair. People have different techniques because they creating ways to finish their blends faster. So the faster the cut, the more people you can cut, which means the more money you can make. So don't be in a rush to be the fastest barber in the world. It's cool if you can cut hair in 15-30 minutes, that's cool, but you always want to make sure you perfect your craft, because people want quality over quantity. They want to feel appreciated. They want to feel like you took your time and you really put forth effort into getting their hair right, or making sure their blends is nice and perfect and their lineups is nice and crispy. That's what's going to keep the clients coming back. And conversation, make sure you conversate with people. Make sure you make them feel like they worth something, like make them want to come back, give them a reason to want to come back to you, because these are the people that's going to keep your bills paid. Now we're gonna get into a little bit of beard action. So my client, he wanted me to cut his beard down, not too much. He still wanted to leave it dark, but just trim it down and make sure everything is all even. And I'm gonna pretty much fade it the same way I did the side and the back. Look at the taper, like the taper is clean. I ain't even put a lineup on it, and look how clean it looks. And I'm not even done with the taper. Like, as you continue to watch the video, it's gonna get better and better, I promise you. But I'm doing the same thing with the beard. I'm cutting the beard down, and I'm debulking the hair. I'm gonna go in with my lever open, halfway close, or open, close halfway. Then with the number 1 guard open, one guard close, then 1.5 guard open, then close, and then that's how you achieve a blended beard. So it's the same steps. It's the sides and the back. It's something about beards that just bring that extra oomph to the cut. I don't know, is it just me, or do y'all feel the same way? Because having a beard with the cut, it's like a game changer. And I'm not talking about the ones with the little peach fuzz or with the patchy beards, and they asking the barber, hey bro, can you line my beard up? I'm trying to let it grow in. I'm like, y'all want it to connect. Bro, ain't nothing there. If you don't get a mustache and a goatee and go on about your day, and you barely got even that. Like, I hate when dudes come in with them little patchy peach fuzz beards, talking about, can you line my beard up? I'm trying to let it grow in. Bro, like, let some hair grow on your face. Like, you get 3 pieces of hair on your face, and all of a sudden you think you got a Rick Ross beard, bro. No, stop it. Now that don't means I don't know how to make that facial hair or that peach fuzz pop and make it seem like you got a beard, because I do it all the time. But I'm just saying, bro. Now watch how this taper pop as soon as I put the line on it. Like, when I look back at the footage of my haircuts, or when I look back at my work, I'll be so amazed and surprised at what I do. Like, cause when I'm cutting, I'll be in the zone. Like I'll just be trying to get the cut done and make sure the cut. Oh shoot, I thought somebody texted me. I'm tripping, but I'll be trying to make sure it's done right. As soon as I like look at the actual footage of me doing the work, or when it's done, I'll be like, man, like I really did my big one. It's crazy. Another thing I want to address when it comes to doing lineups, or when it comes to doing the hairline, I see a lot of barbers overdo this part over the ear. Like when they do it, they do a dramatic line. Like they line it up so high, like it's crazy. Like they don't have to line it up that high. You see what I'm doing? Like I'm staying on the natural line. Like I'm not raising the line up around the ear 2 inches or a whole inch. Like I'm staying right above the line of the ear. Because a lot of barbers, they go overly crazy when they do that lineup over the ear. Like it's crazy. Same thing with the beard. Keep the beard natural on the line unless they ask you to push it in a little bit, or unless you have to. Because I know a lot of people with their beards, they don't connect. And some people, they have a lot of hair that goes or grows around the ear, and you have to create a line. But overall, you want to make sure you keep the lineup natural as possible. This is another thing that's crucial. Make sure your liners is set right. Make sure they're adjusted right. Hey, look, I know my hair look crazy. Do not talk about my hair. I let my hair grow out so I can do a self-cut tutorial. Alright, so y'all chill. But make sure your liners is set right. Make sure they not set over the cutting blade, because if you overset that bottom blade that moves, and you start to line someone up, you're gonna instantly nick somebody, and they're gonna instantly start bleeding. And the neck, under the neck, behind the ear where I'm lining up, and in the corners of the hair, like the sidebars, it's like really sensitive. So you want to make sure your liners is set right, so you won't cut your clients, and so you can get nice, crispy, clean lines. And there's ways you can get crispy lines. Make sure you wash the client hair, or have the client wash their hair before they get cut, or use alcohol to cleanse the skin where the hair is, so you can get that nice clean ash line. But make sure your liners is set right. And you guys see me right here, I'm preparing to line him up. So he wanted the hair trimmed down in the front, so when I line him up, those hairs won't hang over the hairline after I line them. So this is crucial too when it comes to doing a lineup or starting a lineup process. And watch how I position the clippers. Watch how I stay on his natural hairline. I'm not pushing his hairline back at all. A lot of people that have widow's peaks and they have bangs, that's just hair that's growing over the hairline. So I'm cutting that hair off to where his hairline is supposed to be at. So if you guys watching the video, tell me, oh, you pushed him back. I did not push his hairline back. I'm creating his hairline. He have a lot of hangover. All I'm doing is just cutting it to where his natural hairline is supposed to be. Before you line someone up, if their hair is already washed and clean, perfect. If not, use an alcohol pad to cleanse the skin, to get all that dirt and grime off the hairline and the hairs. So when you line it up, it'll come out crispy. And before you start your lineup process, spray some holding spray on the hair. That's gonna lock the hairs in place. So when you start to line your client up, the hairs won't move. And as you guys can see, you can see the hairline is coming out real nice. It is coming out real crispy with his natural hairline. And his hairline is thin in certain areas, but me prepping his hairline to be lined up, I made it to where his hairline is popping, his hairline is show. And a lot of barbers, they would have just pushed his hairline back where it's darkest. And you never want to do that to your client. You always want to make sure your client's natural hairline is nice and crispy. favorite parts of the cut is adding enhancements. Now, I ain't gonna lie, men hairlines nowadays is not as strong as they were back in the early 2000s. Like, in the early 2000s, they had waves, bald fades, like the hairlines was nice and dark. Like, enhancements wasn't a thing. Like, they didn't need no enhancements back in the early 2000s. Now, men hairlines is like so weak. I've noticed like their hairlines is like so weak and thin, patchy. Like, now men need enhancements. I'm not gonna lie. There's some men out there that still got nice strong hairlines, but majority of men out there, their hairlines is not as strong as they were back in the early 2000s. Because I remember when I was younger, I had waves and I still got a nice dark hairline, but people I grew up around or grew up with, like, they had nice dark hairlines. Now, like, men is thinning at the age of 20, so it's crazy. So this part, I want you guys to see. I know his hairline looked a little crooked. That's because he keep raising his eyebrows, so that's throwing his hairline off. So as you guys can see, he keep raising his eyebrows, and you will come across clients that raise their eyebrows a lot, especially when you lining them up. So you gotta constantly remind them to not raise their eyebrows while you lining, because if they raise their eyebrow, their hairline is gonna be crooked. Okay, so make sure you constantly remind those people that raise their eyebrows to not raise their eyebrows. The reason why I use the color pencil is because it helps bring his hairline out more. It helps to enhance his hairline and make his hairline pop after adding enhancements. Just like with women, when they use concealer, they make their eyebrows pop. The same thing with the hairline. With the straight razor, you want to make sure you treat it like how you treat your girl. Light strokes, nice and slow. Not cutting the skin, you're cutting the hair. You don't have to push all hard, you don't have to be all rough. The blade is gonna cut the hair, it's gonna do its job. So make sure you keep that in mind. As I said before, make sure you keep all your lines as natural as possible. I ain't gonna lie, I hated doing beards before, and that's because I didn't know what I was doing. But as I continued to practice on cutting and lining beards when I was in barber school, I began to get better at it, and I began to like it. And especially since I started to grow a beard, since my facial hair and my hair grow so fast, like, I kind of had to, learn how to do it. So if you struggle with beards, don't get discouraged. Keep practicing. I promise you, you're gonna get better at it. If you're in barber school, make sure you take every cut, whether it's a bald head and a beard, whether it's long hair, a gentleman's cut, a bald fade, a taper, black, white, Chinese, it don't matter. Never run from a service, never run from a cut, never run from a hairstyle, because all you're doing is limiting yourself from learning certain things and learning certain hairstyles and learning certain techniques when it's time for you to get in a barbershop. Because if you go to a shop or a salon and you come across someone that wants a certain service, they're going to expect you to know how to do it, because you've been in school, they figure you had the proper training on it. So never run from any kind of haircut. I never ran from a haircut when I was in barber school. Even if I didn't know how to do it, I still said I knew how to do it. And if I needed help, I asked my instructor, but I never ran from a haircut. Not even haircut and color, like clipping ends, none of that. I never ran from it, because I wanted to make sure I knew how to do every hairstyle, every hair texture, every race. I didn't want to just limit myself to just cutting African American people. I wanted to, make sure I knew how to cut every kind of hairstyle and every kind of hair texture. When using a straight razor on the face or the cheek, one of the best ways for you to get a better stroke is to ask the client to blow air in their cheek or to puff their cheek out, and that's gonna help you, get a better stroke when lining their face up with the razor. It's gonna help you or prevent you from nicking that person, because they're making their skin tighter. So if their face is like regular, like how his face is, you more prone to cutting the client because the skin is so loose. And you see me using my thumb to stretch the skin so I won't cut the client. And as I said before, use light strokes. The blade is gonna cut the hair. You don't have to push hard, especially on the face and the cheek area, being that it's so sensitive. Use light strokes. The blade is gonna cut the hair. It's gonna do its job. And also make sure you constantly brushing the hair as you see I'm doing. Don't just go over the beard one or two times and think it's lined up. No, because when you go and clean the client face off, or when they go home and wash their face or clean their face off, especially clients that like to go in the bathroom after they're cut, they like to get water, make sure they clean their face off and their hair, make sure all the hair is off. When they do that, it's gonna look like they didn't even get lined up. So make sure you guys going over the beard and the areas that you're using the razor on multiple times to make sure you get that true nice lineup on the face or the hairline. Touches. This is pretty much the end of the video. I'm using the twist sponge to style the hair. If you guys like the video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on your noties so you know when I'm dropping these tutorials. Let me know what you guys think of the cut. Let me know if you guys enjoyed the conversation. Leave a comment and let me know if this video helped you in any kind of way. And I'll see you guys on the next video. I'm out. Peace.
Damn, I need a haircut. This looking bad. Oh, looper.
YouTube, what's poppin'? It's your YouTube favorite barber, and I'm coming back with another video. So look, this hair texture is one of the most difficult hair textures I have ever cut. And if I sound weird, forgive me. I'm tired. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm doing this voiceover. But as you guys see, I'm combing and brushing his hair, and it looks like I didn't even touch it. And the reason behind that is because his hair is really, really spongy, which means I can comb or brush his hair and it'll go right back to how it first looked. As you guys see, in this video, I'm gonna be doing a lot of combing and brushing. And Y'all go see. Watch. Y'all go see. I'm gonna be combing and brushing the hair, and it's gonna look like I never even brushed it or combed it. Like it's just gonna stay how it look. So, as usual, I always comb and brush the hair out before I start cutting the hair, and that's gonna allow the clipper blades to cut the hair more smooth without any restrictions or it pulling the hair. And I start with the lever closed to start my first guideline because me personally, I find it easier to get that first guideline out when blending into the hair. We go set our next guideline in with the number one guard open, going up about an inch. Bro, do y'all see how the hair is responding to the comb when I comb it? Look, like, do y'all see that? Man, this hair texture is crazy. I've never cut no hair texture like this ever. But I am glad I came across this client with this kind of hair texture because this is something different for me to experience because this haircut was a bit challenging for me. But I love challenges. I love challenging myself because you never know what you're capable of doing until you do it. And when you do something that you never done before or you thought was going to be too difficult for you and you execute it, like you be so shocked. Like that what separates me from other barbers. Like I step out of my comfort zone when it comes to doing certain things, especially when cutting hair, because a lot of people they like to run away from things or avoiding certain things that they're not used to doing or being around. But me, when something new approach or comes my way, I like to see if I can beat it or figure it out or do it. And 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna do it like because like I said, I love challenging myself. And it's always good to test yourself to see if you're able to go above or beyond what you usually do or something that you're not used to. So y'all see me going over this hair multiple times, and that's because the hair is not doing what I want it to do. I mean, it is, but it's a slow process. So I'm just working that line out between the lever open no guard and the one guard closed. So with this hair texture, I found you have to make your guidelines smaller. So with my guidelines, I usually make my guidelines about an inch thick. But this kind of hair texture, you have to set your guidelines in smaller than an inch. You can go about half an inch or a little more than half an inch. But in order for you to be able to get a nice clean fade or better than what I did, set your guidelines smaller. Because if you set your guidelines in, like as you can see, the hair, like the fade is gonna keep rising, it's gonna keep going up, and it's eventually gonna look bald. And that's something you don't want. I was able to fix it and manipulate it, but for future references for myself, and I'm telling you guys right now, set your guidelines smaller. Set smaller guidelines, about half an inch with this spongy hair texture. So if you ever come across this kind of hair texture, that's what you do to achieve a nice blend. I did the same thing in the back. Cut his hair the same way I cut everybody's hair. And that was a life lesson for me when cutting hair. You can't cut everybody's hair the same. So when coming across these different hair textures, you have to create a fading technique that'll work for that person's hair, if that makes sense. So to be specific, this client, he's Nigerian. And all the Nigerian hair I cut, it seems like all of their hair texture is like this. And don't get me wrong, I'm not bashing their hair. I'm just saying that they have like a really spongy hair texture. Hey, it's almost 4 in the morning and I hear my neighbors knocking boots. Somebody get me back, bro. Wait, why am I whispering? But anyway, the first Nigerian I ever cut, his name is Uchenna Nwosu. He played football for USC, linebacker. He got drafted to the Los Angeles Chargers. And when I first cut his hair wasn't like this, but it was spongy. But when I first cut his hair, I noticed like when I was fading or blending his hair, like the fade or the blend, like it'll keep rising. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, why is his hair doing that? So as I continued to cut his hair more and more, I started to realize that I needed needed to set my guidelines lower and smaller. So by me doing that, I was able to achieve a better blend and a better looking haircut. I want to know in the comments, what race was the toughest hair texture you ever had to cut? Don't be in the comment section being all crazy, talking about African hair and the KD hair and all that. Y'all be wildin'. Y'all see me slowly but surely knocking those lines out, knocking those guidelines out. And I ain't gonna lie, this took me a little minute to do because I wanted to make sure this hair was perfect and blended to a T. And I wasn't gonna record this, but I'm like, nah, I want my supporters to see this because these barbers, they be posting or uploading videos of people with perfect hair textures or like mixed or softer hair textures, and they never show this kind of hair texture because this hair texture is not easy to blend. So I wanted you guys to see my process of me blending and fading this kind of hair texture. Like, I want y'all to see that there is hair textures out there that's like this, that's not easy to cut, and not everybody hair texture is like Puerto Rican hair texture or a mulatto hair texture. Like, this hair texture right here will expose like who really know how to cut and blend hair, because all hair textures are not the same. If you're new to barbering, I recommend that you learn different hair textures because all hair textures are not the same, meaning that you can't cut everybody hair the same. You can't, because one fading technique may not work on the next person. So you have to make sure you know and study different hair textures and come up with different fading methods to be able to know how to execute or attack a certain hair texture, so you won't be lost or confused on how to blend certain hair textures. And also, this goes to any hairstylist, any barbers. This is crucial when dealing with hair. Always make sure you analyze the hair, analyze the scalp, check the hair, check the scalp for any bumps, bruises, any lice, anything, because you don't know what that person may have in their hair. Let me give you a little story time. So when I was in barber school, this boy came in with his parents and he had long hair. I mean, like long hair to the middle of his back. And he came in and he was like, oh, I want to cut all my hair off. I'm getting tired of it. It's just too much. And the parents came in, they were like, yeah, it's just too much hair. We want him to have it all cut off. And I was like, okay, what kind of hairstyle are you looking to get? And they were like, oh, you can cut it really low with the one guard, like just cut it all off. And I didn't think nothing of it. I'm excited because I'm in barber school. You know, I'm already being looked at by all the other barbers because I already knew what I was doing. So I started working on his hair, and his hair was still kind of wet. I thought he washed his hair, but it was from him sweating. But he had like his hair in a bun. So I began to like run my fingers. Mind you, I had gloves on, but I started to run my fingers through his hair to cut it because I was going to part it into fours, and then I was just going scissors and snip, and then cut the hair. So I parted the hair, and instantly there was like this really, really bad smell. And I'm like, what the heck is that? And I looked, and it was his hair. And as I start to look deeper into his scalp, kid you not, his whole scalp was covered in lice. And I immediately dropped my comb, stepped back, and literally ran to the bathroom to go wash my hands because I couldn't believe that they brought him in here knowing he had lice in his hair and wanted me to cut it. And I started throwing up, and then the instructors from the barber side and the cosmetology side, they were like, oh, what's going on? And I'm like, those people over there that came in here with their kid told me to cut all his hair off. And as I was about to cut his hair, his whole scalp was full of lice. So they said, no way. And I told them I couldn't do it. I'm not cutting his hair. I'm not doing it. And they was like, okay, hold on, let us check. So they went to go check, and they came back and they were like, yes, his head is full of lice. We're going to send them off. We're going to tell them we can't do it, and you're going to be fine. Just wash your hands, throw the gloves away, and clean your tools. And I went to go do that, and I walked back to the barber area where I was cutting his hair, and the parents was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. We knew he had lice, and we just wanted to get rid of it and get it cut, and we should have told you." And I'm like,
and my family's life? Can you comprehend that? You don't even know why you don't like me. Tell me why. You don't know why. Because you don't know me, James. Walk. You think I never walk? Come on, I'll walk. You think I'm gonna beg you? Don't beg me. I'll walk. James. James. Can you let me ride the front seat, please? Shut up. Before I tear you in the mouth. That's illegal.
but back to the cut. So now all I'm doing is prepping his hairline to be lined up. I'm gonna trim those hairs down in the front a little bit, and I'm gonna put some holding spray. I'm gonna line him up. I'm using a 1.5 guard close to knock the hair down in the front. Now, I know y'all looking at the taper like, man, what is that? That taper is not clean. It's not blended. It look weird. Bro, I'm not done yet. Let me cook, all right? I'm gonna get it right. And this is what I mean when I say everybody haircut is not gonna come out the same. It's not gonna look the same. You see his hair is light in certain areas. Usually when you do the lineup around the ear, it's darker, but the way his hair is and his hair texture being so spongy, you know, it's lighter in certain areas, so it's not going to come out dark. So you have to do certain things that's going to allow you to achieve the haircut that you're trying to achieve. As I always say, you want to always make sure you keep the hairline natural, whether it's in the front or you're doing the sides. So y'all see his hairline, y'all see what I'm dealing with. All right, I don't know who was cutting his hair before, but he told me, he said, bro, please don't push my hairline back, keep it as natural as possible. The last barber I was going to, he was jacking my hairline up, so please keep it natural as possible. I know it's slanted, I know it's not going to be even, but just keep it as natural as possible. And I was like, okay, bro, because he didn't want his forehead to appear bigger than what it already seemed, because his dad's forehead is big. And he said, can you add some enhancements? I said, all right, bro, don't worry, I got you. Let me get you right. So I don't want y'all in the comments talking about, oh, his hairline is slanted, you messed him up. Bro, he's well aware of his hairline, and he knows it's not straight, as y'all can see. So y'all chill in the comment section, man. I tried to convince him to let me make his hairline straight, but he didn't want it, so I'll just let it go. So as you can see on his left side, the corner is lighter than the rest of his hair. So I'm just notching at his hairline, trying my best to make it straight, but not too noticeable, but you can low-key still see it. Trying to tell y'all, man, but once I put the enhancements on, you're not gonna even notice it, because you know that's what I do. I make the impossible possible to the best of my ability. And when y'all applying enhancements, make sure y'all putting a little bit on at a time, not spraying a whole bunch. The point is to make it look natural and crispy. Some of y'all be doing too much and overdoing it and making it look super dark and thick. Like, no, just put a little bit on. Don't nobody want to walk around looking like Jermaine Jackson. Now this is where the haircut is going to tie together. Remember before I was like, the haircut look weird and it's not blended right? Doing this right here is what's going to bring the haircut together. all I'm doing is cutting the hairs that's hanging over. Because like I said before, the way his hair is really spongy. And I don't want to keep bringing the fade up. If I would have tried to blend that area out that I'm freehanded with the guard, the fade would have just kept going higher and higher. And then at that point, he would have been getting a bald fade, and he didn't want that. So I'm just notching at the hairs that's hanging over, and I'm thoroughly blending it. And he wanted the sides to stick out a little bit. He wanted that mushroom look, because if I would have blended it the way I wanted to, it would have looked like a mohawk, I guess. I don't know, but he wanted the sides to stick out a little bit. So that's why it's not fully blended. He wanted that Duke starting 5 type of hairstyle. I know I keep talking, but I'm so glad I learned how to use the straight razor, because when I first used the straight razor, like, I literally cut somebody's skin. Like, their skin was low-key hanging, and I was traumatized from it. But as I watched more and more YouTube videos of barbers, and this was before enhancements became a thing, I watched how much cleaner the hair came out by using a straight razor. So I practiced with a balloon and some shaving gel, and once I got comfortable enough to start using the razor again, that's when I started to use the razor again. So this is pretty much the end of the video. If you made it this far, I just want to thank you. I really appreciate you for liking, commenting, and subscribing to my channel. Even if you're not subscribed, if you're just watching, I still appreciate you. Even though I would like for you to subscribe, I still appreciate you. And I just want to thank all you guys for supporting me and supporting the channel. And we're going to continue to grow. Leave a comment below letting me know what you guys think. And shoot, that's the end of the video. Until next time, y'all, I'm out. Peace.
Good. Hey.